birth certificate. The bloodlines of the world run through my veins because I offer freedom to the oppressed. I am many things and many people. I am the nation. I am 300 million living souls and the ghosts of countless millions who lived and died for me. I am Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard around the world. I am Washington, Jefferson, Lee, Grant, and Abe Lincoln. Let freedom ring.
I remember the Alamo, the Maine, and Pearl Harbor. When freedom called, I answered and stayed until it was over there. I left my heroic dead in Flanders Field, on the rock of Corregidor, and on the bleak cliffs of Korea. I am the Brooklyn Bridge, the wheat lands of Kansas, and the granite hills of Vermont. I am the coal fields of the Virginias and Pennsylvania, the fertile lands of the West, the Golden Gate, and the Grand Canyon. I am Independence Hall, the Monitor, and the Merrimack. Let freedom ring.
I am big. I sprawl from the Atlantic to the Pacific. 3 million square miles throbbing within this. I am more than 5 million farms. I am forest, field, mountain, and desert. I am quiet villages and cities that never sleep. You can look at me and see Benjamin Franklin walking down the streets of Philadelphia with a bread loaf under his arm. You can see Betsy Ross with her needle. You can see the lights of Christmas and hear the strains of Auld Lang Syne as the calendar turns.
Let freedom ring.
I am Babe Ruth in the World Series. I'm 275,000 schools and colleges and 450,000 churches where my people worship God as they think best. I'm a ballot dropped in a box, the roar of a crowd in a stadium, and the sound of a choir in the cathedral. I'm an editorial in a newspaper, a letter to a congressman. I'm Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, and Billy Graham. I'm George Washington Carver and Daniel Webster. I'm Chuck Yeager, John Glenn, and George Herbert Walker Bush.
Let freedom ring. America, America, God shed His grace on thee.
Yes, I am the nation, and these are the things that I am. I was conceived in freedom, and God willing freedom, I will spend the rest of my days. May I always possess the integrity, the courage, and the strength to remain a citadel of freedom and the beacon of hope to the world.
Above the fruited plain, America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to
great pride now in recognizing the armed services of the United States, as well as their reserves and associated organizations. We invite any of you who served our country to stand when we mention your service, that we might thank you. From the troops of Washington to the soldiers of Schwarzkopf, we take great pride in presenting the men and women who served in the United States Army.
And wherever you go, you will always know that those pesos are going along.
From the courageous pilots and their screaming engines to the tireless work of their ground support, we honor the men and women of the United States Air Force. Patrolling proudly in planes and ships of red and white, making sure that our shipping lanes are clear and protected, we honor the brave men and women of the United States Coast Guard.
We're always ready to walk on high, Coast Guard, we are for you.
The Pacific, the Atlantic, the Persian Gulf. You name the water, and the Navy men and women are right there, keeping it free and secure. The United States Navy. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, they have fought and they have made us proud. They are the few, the proud, the members of the United States Marine Corps.
We are proud to praise the title of United States Marines.
And now, may we all join these brave men and women in standing in honor of the symbol that unites us, our banner of courage and our emblem of freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the flag of the United States of America.
We're very glad to have join us on our final number before we begin our ceremony, Mr. Frederick McClure.
seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling crowns. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and dance. I can read his righteous sentence in the dim and flaring lamps. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MCs for today and the voice of CCS Sports, Mr. Jim Dance.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning on this glorious day. What a thrill it is to be here. I usually open my broadcast with a simple hello, friends, but I think it's appropriate here in this setting to say, howdy, friends. You know, it doesn't seem possible that 10 years ago, so many of us gathered right here in this very setting to open the doors to this majestic building right behind me for the first time. And today we turn the page to an exciting new chapter in the life of the George Bush Library and Museum. We're going to talk about that a whole lot more, but right now I'd like to direct your attention to the southern sky right over here, where you will see members of the United States Army's Golden Knights parachute team dropping to pay us a special visit. Now, let me add one little thing here. There's nothing like a great surprise or secret, and we have one for you right now. Jeb, I see you there. Neil, Doro, all the grandkids, the man you lovingly call Gampy is going to be the final man to come out of the plane. Is that a good surprise or what? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Golden Knights, and just take note, the last jumper is the man we know and love as 41. Enjoy. He got you. Really going to happen, okay? It's not some sort of evil, twisted prank, but this is truly going to happen. We're expecting 15 jumpers, okay, if you want to keep count. And we expect he'll be the 15th. And we'll have commentary and play-by-play courtesy of the Golden Knights when they are ready. Okay, almost directly over the stage. Here we are. And the drop zone, landing zone is right over here by this flag. Okay? Piercy, you get ready to assist, okay? And for the record, this is his 6th parachute jump and 5th one voluntarily, okay? We all know about the one back in World War II, but then there was the one in Yuma, Arizona, followed by the one on the 75th birthday, and then he had 2 jumps on the 41 at 80 celebration. So, some of us are honored to say that we have been there for every one but the first one. All right, here's a small update. Okay. This was very well choreographed and timed, but due to some cloud cover where they want to make the drop, they're going to make one more pass. We're 4 to 6 minutes away from the jumpers getting this underway, so just hang in there, okay? There's no second guessing, second thoughts, maybe I shouldn't do this. No, it's all go, okay? You know, as a little backdrop here, this was such a surprise. Talking to General Scowcroft, I know the family had no idea, and there were just 2 or 3 people that were in on this little secret, and he just really wanted to kind of surprise everyone. So when we get him back here on this stage, a short while from now, we're going to have to just give him one of those thunderous ovations, because you know he really wants to make this a special day for everybody here. You know how he worries about all of us before he worries about himself. So we're excited. You know, he'd had the one at 75. He did it at 80. We had heard there was possible plans for another one. That's not their plane, okay? I want you to know he's not jumping out of an F-16. He's jumping out of a plane. We're going to fill a little time here with the singing cadets, okay?
Through the years, there have been men, great gallant men, who have died that others might be free. And even now, they do it still. Brave gallant men know that someone must, and so they will.
Here we go. Let the jumping commence.
Y'all will come along and help me sing this thing. It's all right.
He told me, boy,
the American paratrooper, born of fire in the skies of World War II more than half a century ago, has since struck fear and terror into the hearts of those foolish enough to oppose them. Relentless in their skill and courage, not only in the air, but also on the ground, these brave soldiers have forged for themselves a place of honor in America's history, past, present, and into the future. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sergeant Andrew Starr, and it has been my proud honor to fly in your Texas State flag on this, my 1,324th freefall parachute jump. I will narrate for you today a live demonstration of precision freefall parachuting, as can only be performed by members of your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. At this time, members of the Black Demonstration Team are circling high overhead in our very own distinctively painted C-31 troop ship aircraft at an altitude of 12,500 feet. The Jumpmaster is actually out the left door of the aircraft. His head is outside in the wind and the cold. Through a series of hand and arm signals, the Jumpmaster is relaying heading corrections to the pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention high overhead as members of the Black Demonstration Team have simultaneously exited our aircraft. We now have members of the Golden Knights in freefall, rapidly approaching speeds of 120 miles per hour. The initial part of the formation is called the base, and it is actually launched from the side of the aircraft as the initial jumpers interlock their arms and legs to form the nucleus of the formation. The remaining jumpers fly in using their hands, arms, legs, and shoulders as flight controls, allowing our jumpers to safely complete the formation. The jumpers continue to fly at 120 miles per hour as the freefall photographer circles the formation. Since verbal commands cannot be heard in freefall, the team leader must rely on hand and arm signals for communication. At 5,000 feet, the team leader waves his arms, and our jumpers streak to the points of the compass, completing the bomb burst maneuver. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our salute to of today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the high-flying black and gold of your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. These jumpers must maneuver their canopies upwind in order to land dead center on our target. The parachutes used by the Golden Knights are flexible wind gliders constructed of a lightweight ripstop nylon. Each parachute has an inherent forward speed of up to 22 miles per hour. To turn left, our jumpers will pull down on the left steering line. To turn right, the jumper simply pulls down on the right steering line. As you'll see these jumpers near the ground, they will pull down on both steering lines simultaneously for the safest and softest possible landing. Your United States Army is now a highly sophisticated and technological force. We have more computers than IBM, more aircraft than any major airline, and as always offer you an unparalleled opportunity to become Army strong. You'll notice these jumpers are flocking their canopies together, making their way upwind as one unit. Even under their black and gold parachutes, the jumpers will take their commands from the team leader as he leads in the parachute stack. Unlike the military jet teams, the performers of the United States Army parachute team are mostly non-commissioned officers. The 86 men and women of the Golden Knights come from various jobs throughout the Army to spend 3 or more years on one of the 4 major sections of the team. They are the demonstration teams, who travel the country to perform live aerial demonstrations such as the one you see now. The team performing for you today is the Black Demonstration Team. We also have members of the Tandem Team, who perform selected tandem parachute experiences for VIPs and members of the military. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see at 1,000 feet, our jumpers conduct a wind penetration check. These allow our jumpers to gauge their speed and distance across the ground. They will then turn their parachutes on a downwind leg, a base leg at 90 degrees to the target, and face their parachutes into the wind for their final approach. You'll see our first jumper has set up high above the target, and due to these strong wind conditions, he comes straight down, looking to plant his feet right in the dead center as he manipulates his steering toggles and the POW-MI flag safely on target. It takes a great deal of trust and determination to land dead center on the target. Our next turns back behind the target, manipulating his steering lines for a nice, safe tiptoe landing. You may see some of these jumpers spiral down out of the sky. To do this, they will grab the front part of one side of their parachute, enabling our jumpers to spiral earthward at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, as our next jumper turns his parachute on the final approach. Once on final approach, these jumpers must constantly stay aware of wind speed and direction. To enable our jumpers to do this, we've placed the windsock located in the target area. Each jumper keeps a close eye on the windsock as they manipulate their steering toggles for safe landings. Our next jumper has turned high above the target and sinks his parachute straight down. Watch the determination in the jumper's face as he prepares to make a dead center landing on target. He brings his parachute straight down over the target, manipulating his steering toggles. He will plant both feet right in the center of the Orange X for a safe Golden Knight target landing. Due to these high wind conditions, the jumpers must take their time coming in on target, as every movement is precisely made. Our next jumper stops his parachute right on target for a nice, safe stand-up landing. Each member of the team is a soldier first, highly trained in one of the more than 200 occupational specialties, as our next jumper manipulates his parachute down on target for a beautiful target landing. Ladies and gentlemen, these jumpers can hear you very well under their black and gold parachutes. Give them a round of applause as our last demonstration jumper manipulates his canopy over the target area. He turns his parachute on his final approach, whipping around. He then pulls down on his steering lines for a nice, soft, down approach as our jumper manipulates his parachute over the target for a nice, safe tiptoe landing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, please direct your attention high overhead at the black and gold canopies flying above you. It is my proud honor to introduce the 41st President of the United States of America, George Herbert Walker Bush. He has conducted a tandem parachute jump today with tandem instructor Sergeant First Class Michael Elliott from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Sergeant First Class Elliott has over 7,000 parachute jumps, 2,000 of which are tandem jumps. He was flanked on either side during his free fall by the commander of the United States Army Parachute Team, Colonel Anthony Dill from Pensacola, Florida. On his left, the senior enlisted member of the parachute team, Sergeant Major Michael Eitenauer from Daytona, Florida. Shooting primary video for his jump, Staff Sergeant Joe Jones from Atlanta, Georgia, with over 4,000 free fall parachute jumps. And behind him, two of our most senior members of the Black Demonstration Team, Sergeant John Ewald from Waldorf, Minnesota, and Sergeant Josh Coleman, performing his last official demonstration jump as a member of the Black Demonstration Team. Now, you may notice these parachutes are taking a slightly different approach than the jumpers you saw earlier. These are small, flexible wing gliders designed to land much like an aircraft down a runway at a busy airport. However, just like the accuracy parachutes you saw earlier, each jumper will still fly a downwind leg, a base leg at 90 degrees to the target, and hook their parachutes into the wind for their final approach. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army Parachute Team. In order to gain speed for their landings, each jumper will perform a hook turn, or a 270-degree turn, designed to give the jumper speed. Speed under these high-performance parachutes translates, allowing our jumpers to make these high-precision landings. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next jumper you see coming in was one of the two smoke jumpers. Each jumper has a smoke bracket attached to his left foot, which enables you, the audience, to see our demonstration while in free fall. As the jumper maneuvers his parachute down up for the target, let's see what we can do for a beautiful dead center landing. Our next jumper jumping his accuracy parachute into the target area, manipulating his steering lines. He is adjacent to the target and will crab his way over. Jumping the presidential flag, Sergeant Josh Coleman performing his last official demonstration as a member of the Black Demonstration Team, sinking his parachute on target for a beautiful target landing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a round of applause for Sergeant Josh Coleman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next canopy that you'll see landing is the free fall photographer. He exited with the president and shot video and still photographs of the president while in free fall, maneuvering his parachute over the target area for a nice smooth landing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Sergeant First Class Mike Elliott maneuvers his parachute into the target area. Like our jumpers before, he must keep a close eye on wind direction and speed. He will land here in the target area next to the rest of the jumpers. It takes a great deal of determination to land one parachute on target. However, Sergeant Elliott has a very complicated task as he must land both himself and President Bush here in the target area. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for our 41st Commander-in-Chief. As they both maneuver their way as they take repair into the target area. Slowly pull on the stopping strings, allowing the President to stand up for a nice, safe tandem parachute. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our performance for the day, and on behalf of the entire team, I would like to thank each and every one of them for being such a warm and receptive airborne audience. We, the Golden Knights, members of the Accession Support Brigade, and all the members of the armed forces on the joint team would also like to thank you for your continued support of the men and women of our military who risk their lives daily to preserve freedom. And in closing, I leave you with this final thought. In the future, may all your days be prosperous and your nights golden.
Doro, you can finally breathe, okay? Pretty remarkable for an 83-year-old man, you know? Isn't it spectacular? Well, we can't wait to shower him with some love when he gets up here. It's going to be a quick wardrobe change, and in the meantime, the Texas A&M Marching Band is going to entertain us for just a moment. And that, just like the singing cadets, they are the absolute best. So sit back and enjoy a special day here.
away a thumb and a ride. Then have this petty gravel for my blushing bride. I'll be true to the colors of maroon and white. If they win or they lose, I know they'll always fight. But if they lose, oh pal, you'll always hear me say, let's go to the chicken and drink our cares away. I'd rather be a Texas Aggie, the dime to my name, than have my picture painted in the Hall of Fame. I'd rather be a Texas Aggie, and this is no lie. I'll be a Texas Aggie till the day I die. I'll be true to the colors of maroon and white. If they win or they lose, I know they'll always fight. But if they lose, oh pal, you'll always hear me say, let's go to the chicken and drink our cares away. I'd rather be a Texas Aggie, no dime to my name, than have my picture painted in the Hall of Fame. I'd rather be a Texas Aggie, and this is no lie. I'll be a Texas Aggie till the day I die. Texas Aggies down in Aggie land, we've got Aggie spirit to a man. Stand united, that's the Aggie thing. We're the 12th man on the team. When we're down, the going's rough and tough. We just grin and yeah, we've got the stuff to fight together for the Aggie dream. We're the 12th man on that fighting Aggie team. Texas Aggies down in Aggie land. We got Aggie spirit to a man. Stand united, that's the Aggie theme. We're the 12th man on the team. When we're down, the going's rough and tough. We just grin and yeah, we've got the stuff to fight together for the Aggie dream. We're the 12th man on that fighting Aggie team. Awake, my soul, and sing. A time for praise has come. The silence of the night has passed. A new day has begun. Let music never die in me. Forever let my spirit sing. Wherever emptiness is found, let there be
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause, first for the singing cadets. And how about putting our hands together, too, for the Texas A&M Fightin' Texas Aggie Band. And now, it's a great honor. Will you please join me in welcoming the 41st President of the United States and Mrs. Barbara Bush. Trust me, it was a very big surprise. Okay? Can't wait to get the play-by-play, but right now, please rise or continue to stand, ladies and gentlemen, for the presentation of our nation's colors by the Texas A&M Ross Volunteers, accompanied by the Aggie Band, and please remain standing for the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
now to offer the invocation over our ceremony. There's already been a lot of faith expressed here, Mr. President, because when we sprung the little announcement on them that you were going to be jumping out of a plane again, I think I heard a collective 1,000 oh my gods. So to deliver our invocation, please join me in welcoming the Bush's new pastor at St. Martin's Church in Houston, Dr. Russell Levinson. Dr. Levinson, thank you.
Let us pray. Almighty God, whose love and grace and mercy surround us on every side, today as we gather in this circle of family and friends, we offer our heartfelt thanks for the sacrifice and service of President George Bush and First Lady Barbara Bush. The witness of their lives reminds us all that you often call on us with tasks that demand our best efforts and offer us the opportunity to boldly serve the human family. Now we ask this day for your blessing on this presidential library. Send your Spirit into our midst and fill these halls and spaces with your presence. All who visit or serve this place may be reminded of the freedoms we share in these United States. May this hallowed place continue to call on us to offer our particular thanks for all the men and women of our armed forces who give willingly of their lives to help preserve the rights and privileges given to every citizen of our nation. And as these doors open again today and all the days yet to come, may this place call on us to sustain all the leaders of our nation with our prayers and support, all of which we ask this day in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Levinson. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. President, Mrs. Bush, as you survey the scene here today, you can see that you're surrounded quite literally by family and friends. I look down here and see your sons, Jeb and Neil here, the great author, your daughter, Doro, my father, my president, all the grandchildren who have made it here today, and the extended family. Welcome here back to home at the George Bush Library and Museum. Welcome. We are also privileged and honored to have with us Gordon England, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, and Dr. Andy von Eschenbach, who heads the Food and Drug Administration. A welcome to you both. And then, in typical Bush fashion, we extend a special welcome to the members of our administration, some 600-700 strong here today, as well as all of your friends from Texas to Maine, those who have traveled from overseas and just about every place in between. A welcome to all of you. And I thought it would be a kind of appropriate here because everyone here today loves you two so much. But there are, again, this special group that had a chance to not only serve our country, but serve for the two of you. And, you know, they helped you, as you like to call it, climb the highest political mountain. So I just thought it'd be kind of nice to have them recognized by standing. We can recognize their service. And I know how much they would all, again, collectively like to shower the two of you with applause to express some of their deep affection for the influence that you've had on their lives. So please, everyone who had a chance to work for and with President and Mrs. Bush, would you please stand so we could recognize you? And you, in turn, give a little love back here to the Bushes. Let me say with total confidence that if you have a chance, I know many of you already have visited the library, and it will be open for visitation after our ceremony, but you're going to be floored by this transformation and what's happened here since perhaps the last time you had the chance to walk through the doors there. And the man who really lives it 24/7 is Warren Finch. He's the executive director of the library and museum, and he has been since day one. I'd like to introduce Warren and his wife, Mary. Again, this project, this most recent facelift, some $8 million renovation and campaign that finished on time, has had, I'm sure, Warren's summer, spring, and autumn a little bit turned upside down. I understand you're just now starting to eat solid foods. So congratulations to you, Warren Finch, for all you've done for this very special building. We'd love to hear from you. Come on up here.
Thank you, Jim. President Mrs. Bush, General Scowcroft, Conor Prohaska, Dr. Levinson, honored guests all, howdy. I'd like to recognize a few people in the audience. Alan Weinstein, the Archivist of the United States, is with us here today. Dr. Douglas Menarchik, my predecessor here at the Bush Library as director. Former Foundation Director Perry Atkinson. Former Bush Foundation Director Don Wilson. And also with us here this morning is the current Dean of the Bush School, Dean Dick Chilcote. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Bush Library and Museum. The reopening of the museum after a closure of 6 months is a culmination of 2 years of hard work. Today we have a totally interactive museum where visitors can interact and learn about the presidency of George Bush. Before, there were 12 audiovisual exhibits in the museum. Now we have close to 100, all of which feature documents, photos, video, news coverage, and artifacts from our collection. Before, we asked you, our patron, do not touch. Now we want you to touch. Take the photos off the bookshelves and look at them more closely. Open the drawers in the CIA exhibit and see the many tools of the trade. Explore the foreign and domestic policies of the Bush administration through interactive computer kiosk. Walk into the Oval Office, which has been duplicated in every detail, down to the carpet on the floor, and sit in the President's chair. Open the left middle drawer of the desk and see where the President kept his first baseman's mitt from Yale. In a drawer in the front of the desk, you'll find a secure telephone unit. In the Situation Room, explore some of the tough decisions President Bush faced during the Persian Gulf crisis and see if you may or may not have made the same choices. There is so much new to see in such greater detail, I think you'll be pleased. I'd like to express my appreciation to President and Mrs. Bush for their vision and support. Many of the artifacts and photos in the museum come from their collection and the 116 family scrapbooks that Mrs. Bush has created throughout the years. Both President and Mrs. Bush have been very generous in donating items to the library. The wonderful building is a testament to the exemplary life of public service and President Bush's sense of duty, honor, and country. I would also like to express my appreciation to the Bush Foundation and the Bush Foundation Board for generously funding this renovation, and the Bush Library Advisory Committee for its support. I would also like to thank our friends at Universal Exhibit and especially the staff of the Bush Library and Patricia Birchfield, my Assistant Director and Curator. The photos, videos, thank you. The photos, videos, documents, and artifacts used in this exhibit are a result of my staff's hard work. They understand the work they do is essential to the mission of the Library and Museum and the National Archives and our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warren. And I must add that I've had the chance to visit so many halls of fame and some other presidential libraries. There is nothing quite like this. This is the greatest ever. We love the touch, the feel, the take. I was in there last night, and, you know, I'm really going to enjoy this watch that the President wore to his inaugural. It's just terrific. All for just a small price of admission, too. It was amazing. But no, thank you, Warren. It's special. I hope you'll get a chance to visit it. You can't come to this campus without being blown away by the spirit of the Aggies and what it stands for. I mean, it is, as you know, as you march on in life and you look back and get a little older, a little wiser, and then you have a chance to come back and meet these young people, there's nothing like it I've ever seen anywhere in the world. I'm lost in admiration every time I'm here. And this is the way it's supposed to be. You guys are leaders and superstars to me. I'm pleased to call on the President of the Texas A&M student body. Talk about a leader. Connor Prohaska, to talk a little bit more about the A&M experience. Connor, come on up here.
Well, howdy. It's always a little loud. Thought I was going to be the most nervous person up here, but then I didn't have to jump out of a plane, so it could have been worse. There are over 2,600 universities in the United States today. At all of them, 2 + 2 = 4, and formulas rarely differ from university to university. So when you come here and you hear people like Mr. Nance say what a special place it is, you've got to wonder why. You've got to wonder why Texas A&M, in the middle of Texas here, is so unique. It's not something you can ever quite put your hands on. It starts with 35,000 students standing tall the entire game, win or lose, at the Fighting Texas Aggie football games at Kyle Field. Beat the hell out of Missouri, by the way. It's walking across campus and getting hit with a It's walking across campus and getting hit with a barrage of howdies no matter where you go. It's little kids standing on the sidewalks as the Corps marches by. It's people calling my office and saying, Connor, we're from such and such university and we want to put on an event like the big event, the nation's largest community service project. How can we do it? And I tell them, well, here's the Constitution and here's the standard operating procedures, but I kind of want to giggle at them and just say you can't. You're not fighting Texas Aggies. You're not going to be able to get that much manpower and that many people convinced that selfless service is worth their Saturday. It's a Tuesday night at the beginning of the month when students by the thousands gather in front of the academic building and stand in silent reverence for a student they may or may not have ever known. But they give up their night to stand there and support their fallen Aggies. It's knowing that whether I pass away tomorrow, 20 years from now, or 80 years from now, on April 21st of the year that I pass away, an Aggie, whether it's my grandson or whether it's a friend that I have here, will stand, light a candle, and answer "here" for me when my name is called at Aggie muster. These things are what make Texas A&M completely unique and special. There's something we sum up in something called Aggie spirit. In today's fast-paced and success-driven world, Texas A&M is serving as a beacon of what should always be remembered. It's an idea that President Bush in his inaugural address stated, America is never wholly herself unless she is engaged in high moral principle. 10 years ago, Texas A&M was blessed with this building that we have behind us. We were blessed with a national treasure. The George Bush Library means more to this campus than can ever be put into words. It's easy to see the success and the prestige that the library and the Bush School have brought to A&M. But it's the underlying theme and the encompassing attitude that having this building and having America's greatest selfless servants on our campus for eternity brings to A&M that's so special. President Bush serves as a guiding star for all Aggies here, in the past, and to come. The Bush Library is more than a building or a research resource. This building is a moral compass and a rock on which our university can always measure our integrity. President Bush's philosophy on public service has always and will always coincide with Texas A&M's philosophy on public service. Texas A&M has taken selfless service to heart. President Bush stated, from now on, any definition of a successful life must include serving others. Washington Monthly Magazine recently came out with their college guide last month, and in it asked not what colleges can do for you, but what are colleges doing to serve the country? With this question in mind, Texas A&M was #1 in the nation. The second place school out of 100 points had 13 points less, so there was a giant gap between us and the second-point school. Our selfless service is going to continue. At A&M, we're producing leaders that are changing the world. They're leaders that at some universities have become forgotten. They're leaders that understand what honor and integrity mean. President Bush, I want to thank you so much for the opportunities you've given our student body. President Bush's library has ensured that words like honor, truth, loyalty, integrity, and duty are not simply antiquated terms that we're going to read about in our history books. They're terms, thoughts, actions that are taught and preached every single day at Texas A&M. of the 46,612 fighting Texas Aggies here on campus, honor and integrity will never be forgotten. Every Aggie, every day, will receive that message. What makes Texas A&M special? In short, it's the Aggie spirit. It's having President Bush's presence here on campus. This building in the Bush Library is part of the Aggie spirit, and the Aggie spirit is Texas A&M. Gig 'em and God bless Texas A&M.
How great was that, huh? Connor, thank you. What makes Texas A&M great? You. Among other things, you.
Can't imagine being a college student and having to make an address in front of, well, a few people here today. That was pretty impressive. I know I couldn't have done it. Earlier today, there was a special ribbon-cutting ceremony in the George Bush School of Government and Public Service, the official dedication of the Scowcroft Institute for International Affairs, a fitting tribute to the quiet, unassuming giant of a patriot, an intellect, a statesman. And the fact is, George Bush and Brent Scowcroft fashioned one of the great partnerships in world history. Today, the world is freer and better because of their partnership and their friendship. It is a high honor indeed for me to introduce a humble man of historic achievement. Please welcome General Brent Scowcroft.
Mr. Golden Knight, Mrs. Bush, thank you, Jim, for that wonderful introduction. I'm here now on behalf of the Board of Directors of the George Bush Presidential Library Foundation to tell you how delighted the board is to have been able to assist in this transformation and how grateful we are to the many donors, many of whom are in this audience, who made this transformation possible. I also want to express our appreciation to Warren Finch for his tireless efforts, sleepless nights, and so on, and the fine design team from Universal Exhibits for the wonderful exhibit that you will soon be seeing. I believe it truly captures the heartbeat and spirit of a great president. From this exhibit, if you look at it carefully, I think you'll get a much more complete understanding of the strength of character and the moral, principled leadership of the man who guided our nation during historic times. I think and I hope this new library exhibit will serve as an inspiration to us all. Connor, that was a great speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General. And now for the man of the hour, who keeps inventing new ways to make a grand entrance. We all know the resume, but it's always nice to hear it again. War hero, pioneering businessman, fast-advancing congressman, UN representative, RNC chairman, director of the CIA, vice president, president, and parachutist. But inside these walls you're about to explore after our ceremony, you'll also learn that he was a true liberator. A liberator of those with disability, liberator of East Germany, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and certainly Kuwait. And Mrs. Bush has certainly liberated tens of millions of adults trapped in illiteracy. They have set the perfect example to us all on how to lead productive, successful lives of meaning and courage. Ladies and gentlemen, the 41st President of the United States of America, George Bush.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, guys. Shelley. Thank you all very much. Please. Thank you for being here. And first, my thanks to Jim Nance, who's practically a member of our family and one of the great storytellers.
he's also about third best name dropper in our family, but he's an up and coming guy, and we're thrilled when he took the time to be with us here today. I want to thank Russ Levinson, our pastor from St. Martin's, Connor, who I've come to love and respect, as chairman of the president of the student body here. Is just wonderful. Warren has done a great job in this library, as you've heard from Jim. So we're well represented, and of course having Brent Scowcroft here, who permitted us to use his name for the Scowcroft Institute, is the icing on the cake. He's one of the truly great Americans, and I'm thrilled that he let us do that. Brent, thank you very much. I was looking for our curator, Patricia. The reason I was thinking of Patricia is this. I was dressed in a lovely tuxedo a while back, and she said, "We need this for the library." So she took it off me. I went into my underwear and cleaned it into something else. Now I'm watching my watch, everything else. She's got everything you possibly can take off a guy. And but what a superb job she has done for this library as a curator. We are indeed grateful to those who helped design this, Don Wilson, many others go way back, and of course the crowd that we've talked about here today. It's unbelievable what they've done. Every single person helping make this a very special day in Texas A&M history, but in a very personal sense, my own history. The thought occurs that over a course of a challenging career in business and politics, Barbara and I have moved some 35 to 40 times. That's a lot of moving around in different houses, different apartments, and all of that. Barbara always goes, "Well, he just can't hold a job," but that's her way of looking at it. But now you know why we call her the enforcer in our family. She's the leader of our family, and of course we love her dearly after 62 years of marriage. Here she is, the Silver Fox. And Barbara's now asking for a standing ovation, please. Thank you. Please be seated. I have one regret, only one, and I'll say that. Well, let me just ask the Golden Knights to stand up and turn around so you guys can see them close up. Speaking of the Aggie spirit, you should have been there when these guys get ready to jump. It's like that football huddle you go, and it's just wonderful spirit that they show. Coming together as the best team we've got in the world, I'd say, of demonstration parachutists. So it was a thrill for me to be jumping with them once again. I'm grateful to all of them. And Mike over here may have his back adjusted. Where'd Mike go? Here he is there. I sat on his lap for about 8,000 feet and then was held up against his chest for the coming down. But I'll tell you, it was very reassuring, and thank you ever so much for that consideration, putting the straps on so they stayed tight. Now, but anyway, we've lived in a bunch of different houses, and I've never lived through a major renovation. Certainly nothing on the scale of what has taken place here in this museum that means so much to Barbara and to me and to my family. And even if I wasn't sure what to expect, I will tell you that the job our team has done has totally exceeded all of our expectations. I remember planning meetings. See, this is supposed to be the permanent exhibit. Permanent in the library business, archive business means 10 years, I think, because we had to do the whole darn thing over. But I remember them coming up to talk about what they were going to do to modernize it. I thought the other one was pretty darn good. And the work they've wrought is absolutely superb. And it was a big team effort. People from the West Coast, people moving from there to here to carry out the contract and make it very, very special. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you. I'm pleased with the new interactive elements that Warren talked about. We have a replica of the White House briefing room where you can get a sense of what it's like to go before the Beltway media. You get extra pay for going in there, but it's wonderful. It's really great. And Lord knows, I wish you more success with that than I intended to have on that when you go into the Beltway media room. Give it a shot. See what you can do. Take down some of those guys a notch or two. Most of all, I hope our new library and museum helps us tell an important story about how America rose to defeat the forces of fascism, stare down the forces of imperial communism, and spark a new revolution of freedom and free markets that today is still sweeping the world. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not claiming credit. My mother, ensconced in heaven, George, don't talk about yourself all the time. Listen to the other guy. Let him have a say. Give the other guy credit. Well, I want to give credit plenty to everybody else. But these changes that took place when I was president, I think history will look on them, particularly the unification of Germany, perhaps the liberation of Kuwait, is something significant in terms of American history. And it's all depicted in here very graphically and very accurately. There's only one name on the building. There's only one name on the building outside, but let there be no doubt, the story we tell inside has countless authors. Every man and woman who's worn the uniform of our nation, our steadfast and distinguished allies, all of them, and so many more helped our nation turn a series of sad chapters and give birth to a new era of hope and opportunity. One of the reasons I'm glad my library is here because of this ethos of service. And the only regret I got about the parachute jump is I missed hearing the Aggies band come in here. They are superb. If you haven't heard or seen them in action at a game, you're in for the treat of your life. And thank you all very much for being with us. And the true of the singing cadets who helped Barbara and me in many, many different entertainment venues, and they are the best, and we're very proud that they're here today. Thank you. But I think you all probably know this, but for the 4 years I served as president, I was indeed blessed with a superb team who helped me navigate our people through the turbulent straits of change. You've already heard from Brent. He was a key member of our foreign policy team, and in my view, the best national security advisor, the most honest broker between strong cabinet members. He would get them, they'd get their view, then he'd bring them down and try to work out the differences between, say, defense and state or CIA or the Joint Chiefs and get them worked out if he could and present a compromise decision. And if it didn't work, he said, let's go down to the Oval Office. They'd come down. He'd say, plain, here are the positions of the different departments. President, you must make your mind up. I'd make a decision. And to the credit of our team, they didn't go out calling the Washington Post saying, well, the President didn't get this right. They'd all march to the same drummer, and it was a wonderful thing, and I give Brent great credit for working between these strong people and seeing it work that way. He's the best. I'm also glad to see another guy who did a lot of that same thing for the current president, but who was my transportation secretary, Andy Card. Did Andy get introduced? Here he is right there, Andy Card. Great friend of the Bush family, all of us, and a wonderful cabinet secretary. Well, so to them and the other close members of our political family here with us today, and there are many, so many more who could not join us, let me simply say that the gratitude in my heart knows absolutely no bounds. When the time of our service together is finally written, using many of the documents being housed here behind me, the historians may conclude that we got some things right, I hope, and they may find there were some things we might have done better. If we're going to leave that to the historians, this library, this museum, will help people reach their own judgment on all of that. But one thing I do know with certainty is that together we did it with honor. We upheld the public trust that was placed in us. Timing may be a little off, but I'm glad they're here. So many wonderful things are happening on this. So anyway, thanks to all of you who've served. Thank you for enduring the slings and arrows that go with the life in the arena that Teddy Roosevelt called the arena, so that you might help advance our nation in the cause of liberty. Bob Gates, now the current Secretary of Defense, formerly the president of this university. He was here recently, and he talked eloquently about this when he was here. But in this day and age, we should be particularly grateful for men and women of integrity who put aside their personal ambitions and enter into public service. Most of all, thank you for taking your own precious time to be with us here today as we turn the page to an exciting new chapter in our library and a museum. Somebody say, why do you go do something stupid like making a parachute jump? You're 83 years old. Listen, you gotta do things that are fun, and besides that, it sets an example. You don't have to sit around drooling because you're 83, you know. So these guys made me feel about 23, all of them, these Golden Knights. And now I got another objective that I'm living for, and that is the commissioning of the naval carrier CVN-77, whose captain is with us here today. Captain Flaherty, where is he? Stand up, and the Command Master Chief. And that ship, before the President leaves office, that ship will be commissioned, and I'll be there on the bridge looking for another horizon, looking for another challenge. So life is full of excitement and challenge. This thing has taken 6 long months, a lot of hard work by a lot of talented people. And it's my distinct pleasure now, it's kind of formality here, to declare the Bush Library Museum officially reopened. And thank you all for coming. Have a great day. Giga Maggies.